Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Pauper Premier League Finals, sponsored by CoolStuffInc.com and Wizards of the Coast. And we are going into match number 4 of our finals here against with Chris VanMeter versus Adam Yurchick. Alex, how are you feeling about this?
Tired. No, in all seriousness, it's been interesting. So I'm really excited to the players brought. We'll get down there as soon as we can. But right now, Chris has the 2-1 advantage. He is mono black control and burn versus Adam Yurchick's 4-color control and tribe combo. So how it's worked out so far is that in match 1, it was mono black versus 4-color control. Chris went against the matchup there and won. In game 2, Chris again ran burn into a tough matchup in tribe combo and won.
Yep.
Match 3 was mono black control versus 4-color snow again. Chris went up a game and then just 4-color control did Archaeomancer Ephemerate, and Adam took control of both games. So Now we're going into match 4. And Kendra, because we know. But what would you do if you were in Chris's seat?
Well, obviously we know then that, the mono black really didn't pan out there. I would want to try and go a little lower to the ground. Again, like I mentioned at the end of the last match here before we took off here briefly, it really comes down to like these low to the ground decks.
Yeah.
Stompy, Affinity, and Red Deck wins. They all just shred Jeskai because they just go under it so fast. And Burn, it's kind of the same thing, but it sounds like they're ready. And it is actually Chris VanMeter on Burn against Adam Yurchick's Jeskai or 4-color snow.
Yeah, so let's see how this plays out.
No hands are drawn yet. Let's see how it goes. Ooh,
that is a very good hand from Chris.
Is it triple Fireblast?
It's triple Fireblast? I thought that last one was a lightning bolt.
Nope, that's a triple Fireblast.
I don't think you can keep that. Yeah, he sends it back, but that's a much better hand. Curse of the Postcard is a very hard to deal with threat, and I think if you're Chris, you send back a mountain.
Yeah,
and you.
Adam's on the play here.
Adam's on the play, so. Is he priced into fetching a mountain if Chris leads on Lavarunner?
Maybe.
That Spellstutter Sprite's going to do a lot of work this match. So Adam is going to fetch what? Island. So he is off of red mana for the time being. Now, granted, this deck is good at finding Arcum's Astrolabe, but let's see. Leaving up blue is a pretty big tell, but Suspend is also pretty good here. So I think if you're at Chris, you just attack, Suspend Riftbolt, and I think you pass the turn.
Yeah, that's probably what I would do here. I was trying for the Needle Drop.
That is not going to work out. And that's actually the best case scenario for Adam here. He gets huge value out of that Spellstutter Sprite. Except, now this lets Chris resolve the Chain Lightning, which is a much better use of 3 mana. Oh, but there's Arcum's Astrolabe. And now things are firmly in Adam's favor.
Absolutely. Now we can get the Seeker of the way. You get the Lightning Bolt, Preordain. You get everything.
Yeah. Do you run out Seeker here? Well,
no.
Obviously not. Adam's casting Preordain, leaving up Lightning Bolt. But this also lets Chris resolve Curse, which not great, but is pretty good.
Absolutely. It will put in the work.
It is a threat. It is slow, but it is a clock that Adam has to respect.
Yep.
And
Lightning Bolt too seems pretty good.
Yeah, but there's a Seeker coming down, and Seeker has a way of making it hard for Burn to win.
Mm-hmm. At the same time, though, what might just end up happening is you might just have Chris go Chain Lightning, see what happens to that Seeker. If Adam tries to counterspell it, then you could just go for the Lightning Bolt play.
You can. I don't think that ends up favoring Chris, though, because then you're spending so many resources on taking out one card.
Sure.
It's the right play. This is much better.
Right. Yeah.
Because now you can Chain Lightning, they counterspell, and then you get Searing Blaze. So this works out much better.
Yep.
And now Chris is, I wouldn't say ahead, but isn't as far behind as he was. Because right now, Adam is at effectively, Chris has a faster clock. In this matchup right now, Chris's clock is faster. It is, each are trading one a turn. And if nothing changes, Chris is ahead. Chris has a lot of live draws and is incredibly redundant. But Brainstorm into
Archaeomancer
and Astrolabe.
Yep.
Another Brainstorm. But looks like there's a Skred, which is fine, but there's a Preordain, there's a land.
But another Lightning Bolt.
This isn't great for Adam. It's not good if Chris draws lands, but if Chris draws another burn spell, this clock is very fast.
Right.
So I think you snap off this Preordain and
absolutely.
Hit. What are you hoping to hit?
I would be hoping to hit Ephemerate, probably.
I think you're hoping to Pulse of Murasa.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Actually, I didn't realize it's a little hard for us to tell here, but I didn't realize they put the Archaeomancer back on top of the deck. I like this play from Chris, holding the mountain to make it seem, or trying to bluff burn spells.
Yeah, well, if you're Adam, you play Archaeomancer. Do you regrow Counterspell?
So he's just running out the Seeker here, actually.
He's forcing Chris to play around Counterspell. I don't think Chris can afford to. I think he will have to snap off this Lightning Bolt.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't.
I think you try and snap off the Lightning Bolt here.
I think you have to. I don't think you can win with a Seeker of the Way on the...
Right, and then you hold up the Fireblast.
Burn can't win with an active Seeker of the Way. Yeah, you have to basically hope they don't have it.
And so that Lightning Bolt is coming through.
Yeah. Chris, is probably thinking, if they have Counterspell, I lose anyway. If they don't have it, I have a chance. So I have to hope they don't have it. You can't play around card no matter. Because what's the point? You're just going to lose. Mm-hmm. If you play around it and they don't have it, they're gaining free virtual card advantage. If they do have it, well, you were dead anyway.
Right. And so now there is a big little tell here towards Adam, if he's paying enough attention, is that Lightning Bolt is an instant. What that means is that Chris probably doesn't have like any Chain Lightnings, any Lava Spikes, anything like that in his hand.
So I think if Adam goes for Counterspell here, I think if you're Chris, you snap off that Fireblast.
Yeah.
He doesn't. He goes for Preordain.
Just trying to dig for that gas quickly as possible.
Yeah, but
if Chris finds a second Fireblast, that's game over.
It is. Searing Blaze is pretty good.
Yeah, Searing Blaze rips out that Archaeomancer.
Again, you can't play around Ephemerate. If they have Ephemerate, I think interesting.
Very interesting line.
I think you have to snap off this Fireblast now.
Yeah.
Does Adam run Dispel main? He has one Dispel main.
And it looks like CVM is respecting it.
Chris is playing with incredible patience again, and hopefully doesn't.
Yeah, and there it is. No hesitation.
Yeah.
Because now
it's a 2-turn clock.
Yep.
Adam has one out and in his Pulse of Murasa.
And he has not found it yet.
He's shuffling away dead cards. He's searching for that Pulse. Pulse puts him to 8. Does he draw it?
Yes.
No.
And so that's going to be it.
No, he drew Skyfisher. He doesn't have a redraw.
Yeah, no redraw.
That is it. Chris navigated that beautifully.
Yeah,
we're going to game 2.
Going straight into 2.
Things get a lot harder for Chris game 2 because Adam gets to bring in Weather the Storm, more copies of the spell, more copies of Hydroblast, Lone Missionary, Standard Bearer, while Chris gets to bring in Smash to Smithereens.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you got?
Yeah, that's pretty much about it. But at the same time, then it's a matter of then Adam is just trading resources for resources at that point, and a lot of times that only goes so far. I mean, I've talked about this a lot when me specifically playing elves versus the mystical teachings decks, and we saw this when I played my match against Brian Caval. Was that the elves deck can just grind out the teachings deck because it's a lot of 1-for-1 resource trading, and at some point the elves deck usually just kind of goes ahead. Now, while the burn deck doesn't quite have that same degree of extra card draw per se, it's still a lot of that 1-for-1 resource trading, and so eventually at some point Chris can just come out ahead.
Chris has not brought in the Smash to Smithereens, but he is bringing Martyr of Ashes.
Yep, and that doesn't necessarily surprise me here because we know that Adam really doesn't have the prophetic prisms or anything.
Yeah.
So you're only relying on a couple of the Astrolabes basically at that point.
Looks like Adam cut some Skreds and some Mulldrifter. He's cut his Mulldrifters.
Oh, wow.
What do you think about that?
He might be trying to give himself less creatures to fall prey to Searing Blaze, is my take on that.
Yeah, but Mulldrifter seems like such a... Ooh, that is a great draw from Adam with Lone Missionary and Skyfisher to get it back. But Chris, he has a counter draw for Lone Missionary in Electrickery.
Mm-hmm. Bringing in the Electrickery is really interesting from Chris.
It's a smart play. Well, it also counters Spellstutter Sprite effectively.
Yes, absolutely. When I see Jeskai or Photo Color, I guess, I don't always jump to... My mind doesn't automatically jump to Spellstutter a lot of times.
Yeah.
So I do tend to think about Archaeomancer, Mulldrifter, Skyfisher, and Electrickery doesn't really do a whole lot against those cards.
So, yeah, this is actually going to work out great for Chris because if I'm Adam here, I'm running out that Lone Missionary.
And there's a Dispel there as well.
Yeah, but what's going to be able to happen is Chris suspended Rift Bolt turn 1. He's going to be able to Rift Bolt face, Electrickery, Lavarunner.
Yep.
And while it's not great, he now has Adam under 20.
There's a bolt there off the top.
Yeah, and here comes Lavarunner. And here's the thing about that Dispel. Adam is leaning hard on it. He needs it to do all the heavy lifting right now.
And it's not going to get there. Because you're going to have... What you're going to have happen is you're going to have that...
the Thermo-Alchemist.
Thermo-Alchemist comes down, and then you're going to have Skewer the Critics.
So... Oh, wow. This is huge. Chris is going to be able to Lightning Bolt away the Skyfisher, resolve a Thermo-Alchemist with Skewer the Critics up, put Adam down to 17. Adam has no board right now. He's going to play a Seeker, which is going to die to the Skewer the Critics. And he can't leave up Ephemerate. So let's see.
I think the doors swung a little bit more towards Chris's end here.
Chris is going to be able to skewer this. He is skewer. I'm mousing over like I can see. He's skewering the Seeker. He's going to be able to resolve a second Alchemist. And Adam is effectively at 13 life.
Yep.
Facing down 2 a turn. What we really need to see here is Adam really needs to draw anything, any business.
A red source, an Astrolabe.
Pyroblast is okay. Hydroblast is okay. It's pretty good. But he is still choked on mana.
Mm-hmm.
And, sure, he might get value out of this Dispel, but what happens? Another
Thermo-Alchemist.
Oh my God. So let's see.
And it seems, I think, yeah. So Chris is respecting the Dispel.
You have to. He's also respecting Spellstutter Sprite.
Yeah.
And I think if you're Adam, you can't risk Archaeomancer here for a counterspell.
Nope.
But you by not doing anything, you're letting Chris get so far ahead on mana. He's snapping off this lightning bolt. Sure, you're saving yourself some damage, but you're still at 11 with 2 a turn coming your way.
What we got?
Another lightning bolt.
So it doesn't kill Adam here, but it's very close.
No, I think you wait. I think you have to be patient.
Mm-hmm. So now I will say, if Chris snapped off both of those lightning bolts right now, he would have dealt 9 damage, and that's game over.
We have our first champion?
We have the very first ever Pauper Premier League.
Let's see if this happens.
Oh, it's happening, Alex. It is happening right here.
This puts Adam to 1. No. He is dead.
It's dead.
It is
lethal.
Over.
Dead. Over. Done.
It is over. Congratulations to Chris VanMeter, who went 2-1, 2-1, won last week, dropped 2 games tonight. That's it. 2 games. He went 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, 1-2, 2-0.
And there were a lot of people. I mean, Alex, I know before we saw the list, and
I thought Adam was going to win.
Right, and we had a lot of people. Other people, said Adam's just going to win this. Adam just got us in the bag, and just way to go, Chris. Show him up here.
Yeah,
congratulations, Chris VanMeter.
Chris displayed amazing patience all night. In match 3 of this series, it came back to bite him a little bit. And I don't think it would have helped, but in that matchup, but just displayed amazing patience, looking for lines, it was watch his games tonight for a masterclass in how not to lose. And what I mean is the way Chris played, he was able to identify the cards that beat him, play around them when he could, and not play around them when they couldn't. And it just worked. And, he played both his decks extremely well. Really well played season, but also really well played season by Adam Yurchick.
Yeah. So at this point, we're going to take a very quick break. We're going to set up a nice little interview with our winner, Chris VanMeter. And we'll be back very, very shortly, guys. But I just also want to take a very quick second here. Since we haven't set up entirely who is doing the interviewing here. I just want to say thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody who came in here, who supported this, who showed up. Thanks CoolStuffInc.com for supporting this, for helping us run this, believing in us. Same with Wizards of the Coast. Sponsored us, helped us get this thing off the ground, and made it happen. And even more so to the players and to the commentators who came in, guested with us, help us pick up some of the slack a little bit. Thank you so much to every single one of you.
We'll be right back with a winner's interview. And we have a winner. Congratulations, Chris VanMeter, on becoming the Pauper Premier League champion.
And congratulations to Adam Yurchick for coming up. Yeah, absolutely. We'll be right back in just a moment.
We are back. I'm Alex Ullman, and I am proud to introduce you to your first Pauper Premier League champion, Chris VanMeter. Chris, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So you played, I was talking to Kendra about this. I loved how you played your games tonight. You played every game that I was able to watch with incredible patience. I think in that third match, it kind of, didn't quite work out, but just what was your mindset going into tonight?
So my mindset going into tonight was that I felt like both players were going to have at least one Astrolabe deck, and I wanted basically all of my decks to be good against the Astrolabe decks. And so that was thought number one. And then thought number two was that I thought there was potential for either player to have Tron. So I wanted to have decks that have game against Tron. I think the Burn is very good against Tron. And I loaded a bunch of land destruction in my sideboard of the mono black deck just in case I happen to run up against it in like the actual matchup.
So walk me through your night. You first up was your Elves, Sly, Red Deck wins. And from what I hear, it was kind of not a match.
Yeah, so it's actually really funny. I won the die roll in my first 7 matches tonight, which
that's helpful.
Was pretty insane. But yeah, the first matchup against Brian with Elves, he never had a Burning Emissary on turn 2 or even played a creature really. So there was he didn't have any pressure on me. And I was just able to build a board and win game 1. And in game 2, I had Spider Silk Armor on turn 2.
Oh, sure.
Because he didn't kill my elf. So then I was kind of free to start to build my board from there. I didn't have a super explosive draw because I believe I might have mulliganed or not. I just remember not having a super explosive draw, but getting to a point where I could play out 2 Timberwatch elves. And he just didn't have any removal and just conceded from there.
And then you just, like you said, you like Burn against Tron, and we got to see why in your second match against Brian. Yeah,
I just creamed him game 1, and then game 2 he gained like 15 life off of Weather the Storm, and it didn't matter because I'm, against Tron I'm able to board in the Firebrand Archers.
Yeah,
so I have essentially 7 copies of Thermo-Alchemist.
Yeah. So then, you have what I thought was your worst matchup of the night in Mono Black versus 4-color Astro. What was the key card there?
So the key card there was all the games that I was able to draw and play Thorn of the Black Rose I won, as that's like my one way to kind of keep up with the card advantage of Mulldrifter and Ephemerate. The other thing is that Bojuka Bog was really good there, and I ended up shaving some Bojuka Bogs from my list. From when I played Mono Black earlier in the Premier League, and I'm fairly confident it was wrong. So for those of you that want to play any of these lists that I played, go back up to 4 Bojuka Bogs in your black deck.
Yeah, one thing that was interesting is that you said it lets you keep up on card advantage. In the game where you got to turn 4, Adam still drew like 10 more cards than you.
He does, but the problem, the issue is that even if he's drawing more cards than me, my cards are way more impactful, and the ceiling is way higher, right? Like we can kind of keep up 1 for 1, but the moment I'm able to just like Crypt Rats for 10 or land a Pestilence and it sticks around, or even just get like a creature and then a Grey Merchant for 4 or 6, it really starts to kind of push the game outside of the realm of being winnable.
And then also, let's not forget that Adam is spending mana on cards, getting them.
Exactly.
So then you have another.
And with the way he has his deck built, without the Glinthawks, he doesn't really have a good way to pressure you to try and get the Monarch back. Although he did kind of surprise me in the second game of the first time we played the matchup, where he was able to steal it with a Spellstutter Sprite. I did not see that coming, and thankfully I was able to snag it back. In that game, how the sequence went, he just hard casted the Mulldrifter. I think that it may have been better for him to evoke the Mulldrifter and try and draw into a removal spell for my Crypt Rats to keep the Monarch.
Yeah, that Spellstutter Sprite trick is something that anyone who's played Pauper in the past year heavily in the leagues would know, because it's really interesting interaction between the Skred Delver decks and the Monarch decks. And it was a reason why the Monarch decks would often side out Palace Sentinel, because Spellstutter Sprite just comes from nowhere. So then you have another matchup that I thought, not an underdog, but definitely a disadvantage thanks to Seeker of the Way and Prismatic Strands. Burn against Tribe. Have you seen this new version of Tribe? What did you think of your matchup?
So I have seen the new version of Tribe, and I've played it before. So I have a weekly stream, Pauper stream that I do for Card Kingdom on Mondays. And I played it either last week or the week before. The deck is terrible. It is so bad. I feel really bad for Adam choosing it. Like, I get it. Like, it's a cool deck that people are playing, and like you want to showcase it. But the deck is just actually so much worse than the old version. It's, oh my god, it's so hard to win, especially if you're playing against like the Astrolabe decks. The deck cannot beat the Astrolabe decks at all.
And you played around Prismatic Strands. Granted, Adam did mulligan to 4 in game 1.
He did.
Your draw was good against the mulligan 6, 7. So then Kendra and I were talking, and I was thinking that if I'm in your seat, I know my decks that are better on balance against both decks is Mono Black Control. What made you choose Mono Black Control over Burn in match 3? Because I was thinking that, I took it to the next level. I was like, if I'm Chris, I might want to be on, because one, Adam's probably putting me on Mono Black, so I think Burn is a better choice. But what was your thought process?
So I was fairly confident that Adam was just going to play the Astrolabe deck for the rest of the rounds.
Sure.
And with the way things went the first time we played with Mono Black, I felt like the matchup was fine. And so like thinking back to those games, there were so many opportunities to draw a duress, just blows the game wide open, and I just continually bricked. I think that I probably sideboarded wrong, because he only has the 4 Astrolabes, and he's probably bringing in some number of relics to try and fight Wrenchmine. It's probably still correct for me to bring in the Wrenchmines against him, just because the games kind of go towards that spot where he's going to sit with 4 to 5 cards in hand, and I just want to be able to gain some advantage in the mid game. But I feel like the matchup was fine, and I mean, I crushed him game 1, and then just kind of everything came unraveled games 2 and 3. I was sure he was going to play the Jeskai deck or the Astrolabe deck again, and I just wanted to Burn. I've been running really good with Burn in this Premier League. I've been doing well with Burn just in normal leagues on Moto. I don't think I've done worse than 4-1 with it in the last
it's a
2 weeks that I've been playing. The deck's just very, very good, and I happen to draw well.
I mean, it did what Burn does. And I think that even those games that you lost, those were, you can look back and be like, well, what could I have done differently? There were so many different. There were so many
decision points where I had multiple choices and I made the wrong one every time.
With the perfect information we had, I liked most of your choices. I think if you go back and watch them, I think the one thing that you might realize is at some points you were a little too patient. But I think your patience with the Thorn in game 2, absolutely correct.
I just never drew the duress to try and force it.
Exactly. Your patience was correct. And if you had run it out there, there was a point where Kendra and I were talking. Have they decided that this game is about decking?
There were multiple points where I was just like, that's why I made the plays that I made in game 3 to try and exile his last 2 Ephemerates. Because if I'm able to exile the last 2 Ephemerates, then he doesn't have an opportunity to generate enough advantage to kill me in the 7 or 8 turns that he has left.
But anything else you want to say? Like, you played amazing. You know, I'm sorry we didn't get a chance to season 2. You have to defend your title. I decide that, you know, staying up till 2 a.m. playing Pauper is a good use of my time. But anything else you want to say?
Wait, did you say that there will or won't be a season 2?
If there is a season 2.
Oh, yeah. If there's a season 2, I would love to defend my title. I think this is awesome. Pauper is a great format, especially now that everything's kind of unified as far as what the legality is, and they can be official sanctioned matches. There are MCQs on Magic Online. There are MCQs that are happening at Magic Fest. I hope at some point we actually get a Pauper Grand Prix. I think there would be a ton of people that would go and play. Fingers crossed. Please, please do so.
I would want to go. I would try to get the time off.
Yeah. So all I have to say is play Pauper. It's really fun. It's really cheap on Magic Online. Like this burn deck is. I don't have Pyroblast or Mox Monkey in my sideboard, so this deck is like less. It's like less than $20.
Yeah.
If you wanted to build the entire burn deck, it's very cheap.
And you don't really need those cards. Like, you can run them, but I think Smash to Smithereens is better in burn.
Oh, Smash is so much better.
So once again, congratulations, Chris. I'm Alex Holman. I want to take another moment to thank CoolStuffInc for sponsoring this event, Wizards of the Coast for throwing their support behind it, and I really want to give a huge thank you to Rich Castle, unsung hero, who has made this work. He's behind the scenes. He's frantically every day trying to coordinate everything. Huge thank you to him. Thank you to Kendra, Evan, Emma, Joseph. I'm going to forget people. Michael, Andreas, Adam, Brian, Ricardo. Did I forget anyone?
And me.
And Chris. Thank you to everyone. It's been a huge pleasure, but we will hopefully see you again. If not, this is Alex Holman and Chris VanMeter signing off for the first season of the Pauper Premier League. Thank you, everyone, for watching. We'll see you soon.